Here we go on a Friday. Billy Napier fired and rehired before Penn State can find their next head coach. Welcome in, Stadium Pulse, Action Sports Jacks 24/7 Network. Jason Hamby with you for another hour of college football talk. And we've got a jam-packed show for you today, talking Penn State disaster. But y'all know we focus on 5 teams around here: Florida, UCF, FSU, Georgia, and Miami. And a lot with those 5 teams this week, everything from Miami's playoff chances. We'll have that today, and I'll break it down. If you have been locked into your team and your team only and not exactly sure how this week's or tomorrow's conference, or even tonight, we got a G5 conference championship, but between that and all the conference championship games tomorrow, if you're not sure how that works with the playoff and who's in and who's out and who needs to win and who needs this team to, this will be the hour for you today. We'll also have I'm going to break down Sumrall's hires. There's a new DC and an OC in Florida. Sumrall wasted no time. I don't know how Sumrall is living. He's trying to prepare his old team for a conference championship tonight while trying to fill out a recruiting class at Florida and hiring 2 coordinators. I don't know how that's physically possible, but he seems to be getting it done. Like I said, Penn State as well, and we'll get some of the championship game previews as far as the game themselves. Not just the stakes, but who's going to win them. Georgia, Bama, that'll be a fun one. That will be a very fun one tomorrow at 4 o'clock. The fact that Billy Napier has a job is amazing. It's just amazing. I wish we could revel in that. Start your Friday with that. There are second chances. There's always hope. Billy Napier has a job at James Madison. By the way, I mean, look, don't be surprised that guy's right back in the SEC in the next 5 years. Who are the last 2 coaches at James Madison University? Curt Cignetti, heard of him? And then this Chesney guy who, and we're going to get to this in a second, just chose to go to UCLA and was interviewed at Penn State. What does that mean? We'll have that. Yeah, congrats, Billy Napier. Congrats on the new job. I'm not going to call it a promotion because everybody here would hate me for that. But congrats. Congrats, Billy. You deserved it. On a week where finally it seems like something other than Lane can be the headline, or the games themselves can be the headline. For the last 2 weeks, there were so many important games, yet Lane was still the headline. During the Iron Bowl, which has playoff implications, has SEC championship implication, the headline is Lane Kiffin. He is the only thing that people can talk about. Twitter is fixated on whether he's at the AD's house, Marty Smith is hiding in the bushes, all this stuff. Now, it finally seems like it's died down, although, yes, we have had, former player, good for y'all, the former players who have been like, well, no, actually, it wasn't unanimous or anything like that the whole team wanted him to stay. Because that's kind of obviously the story that Lane is giving, that the players wanted him to stay to be able to coach through the playoffs. The AD said no. And he has said that he's very respectful of that decision. Everything's been cordial. But the AD has since come out in the last couple of days and said, well, everything that Lane has said is not exactly true, which is not all that inconceivable. We can believe that. The AD says the idea that Lane would be surprised or caught off guard when he was told that he wouldn't be allowed to coach the playoffs if he wanted to leave. He said that was completely a complete lie, or just not true, that Lane would have known for weeks that it was one or the other. It wasn't both. Maybe the SEC championship would have thrown a ripple in that, which the AD was upfront about, but that's it. All that to say, we've even got the yoga instructors of Ole Miss coming out with shots at Lane. It's really entertaining. If you're bored If you're halfway out the door on a Friday already, it's 9:07. Hopefully not. Lock in with me. But if you're already halfway out the door and you're looking for a little entertainment, just dive into all the Lane Kiffin files, as it's being called, on Twitter. You will not be disappointed. But as soon as he kind of gets out of the spotlight, just for a second, he's going to be on College Gameday tomorrow, and it's going to be right back in it. This guy is allergic to the shadows. Lane Kiffin is 100% allergic to the shadows. He has to be talked about at all times. It's inevitable for him. It's automatic. He's going to get up there in College Gameday and just, I can't help but think the fact that, James Franklin was just in this kind of situation, very different situations. Obviously, he was fired. And then, 6 days later, he's doing this 15-minute interview on a national stage. And then now Lane is going to do that. And I'm sure we'll hear more of the same. What should we expect? We should hear more of the victim card of as far as he wanted to coach and they wouldn't let him and stuff like that. It'll put up a ton of numbers. The only reason I bring this up, it will be my goal tomorrow. Lane can have his time at 11 o'clock or whatever the interview is. I'm sure it'll probably be around then. But come actual football time at 12 noon, when we get BYU and Texas Tech, and then at 4 when we get Georgia, Bama, and then at 8 when we get Indiana, Ohio State. By the way, ACC, what in the world are y'all doing trying to compete with the Big Ten? Virginia versus Duke, also at 8. That'll be relegated to everybody's smaller TV or not at all. But my point is, once these games start, let's lock in on the football itself. What's actually happening on the grass, that didn't seem to be the case last week. Let's make sure it is this week. Lane can only steal so much of the college football. He chose to take himself out of it. If he wanted to be in the conversation, well, hey, Ole Miss still in the conversation. Could have stayed there, but you left. So let's talk about the teams that are still in this thing, huh? Let's do that. Gators fans. What kind of staff are y'all building? I can't seem to put my finger on exactly if Gators fans are going to come around yet. I don't think they necessarily have a lot on the hiring of Jon Sumrall. I think people are choosing to stay mad at Scott Strickland. And first of all, you have every right to do so. I disagree with it because, again, as we've talked about all Monday, I don't know exactly what you wanted him to do. Specifically, again, that was my key word of, it's not just I'm not a fan of who he hired, so he must have done a terrible job. I'm not going to accept that as a reason to get all upset. He should have hired this guy, and it has to be somebody who's actually realistic, and yet he chose not to, or, because again, if it wasn't Lane, and then who did you want? Who would you have been satisfied with? Or were there just no wins? And no matter what, if it was Lane, then you would have been upset. If that's the case, and I guess that's almost more valid, because at least I know where you stand. But this whole, he didn't try hard enough, wasn't creative enough. Coaches don't like him, or they have a disposition against him because they know his rep or anything. I don't think I'm buying that at all. So anyway, now I think that let's shift the attention off of Strickland and back onto the actual head football coach of your team, Florida, and that's obviously Jon Sumrall. And while he's trying to win an AAC championship at Tulane and punch a ticket to a playoff, he is building a staff at Florida. And I will be the first to say, and I don't think this is, I think everybody's kind of on board with the two hires. I think this is an A+ for Florida. Gators fans, if you hate Strickland, hate Strickland. And I don't even know why I'm vouching for this as a dog, but you should be behind Sumrall, and you should definitely be behind the staff that he's building. This is an A+ for Sumrall so far. Buster Faulkner as your offensive coordinator, home run. Home run. It's absolutely a home run. He's obviously spent the last couple of years at Georgia Tech, and they've had a top 25 offense. And it's not just option football. First of all, that's lazy. If you think, if your first thought was, oh, wow, we hired some option guy, he's not going to be able to do anything at Florida because that's not what we do. Okay, that's about as lazy of a take as you can have. You obviously haven't watched Georgia Tech football, and if you had, you would, and even if you haven't, you know Buster Faulkner in his past. He was at Georgia for 3 years, and which years were that? 2020, COVID, 2021, national championship, 2022, national championship. Am I attributing 2 national championships to Buster Faulkner? No, I am not. What was he? He was the quarterback coach and the quality control guy, one of the many. Worked with Stetson Bennett. Okay. Stetson, who went from, running around everywhere, but you really saw steps in the right direction of hitting deep shots, layering the football, hitting the deep overs and the deep crossers. That was Stetson's bag, especially in the second year. He was one of the best deep ball throwers in the sport. That's why he's still in the NFL. I don't know how much. Nobody can. How can you attribute coaching if you got him and Bobo and even Smart helping as well? The fact of the matter is, Buster Faulkner knows how to coach ball. He knows how to coach offense. There are games when Haynes King was out for Georgia Tech that they put this Aaron Philo kid and he threw for 300 yards. If you can bank on one thing, Florida, it's that Buster Faulkner is going to tailor his offense to what your players are good at. He's not, he's not going to, what's the saying? The peg in the round hole or something? I don't even know. He's not going to do it. He's going to evaluate the talent that you have, and he's going to call plays and call an offense and scheme up something that works for them. He's not one way. He can. I truly believe that he can do it all. And obviously, I'm a big Mike Bobo fan, the offensive coordinator at Georgia. Everybody, half the fan base hated him, at least in the last 2 years that Georgia didn't win a national championship. So it always brought up this conversation, kind of hypothetically, if Bobo were to be gone, which I never wanted, and I don't think it was ever a possibility, who would you want as your offensive coordinator? Across the board, everybody was going to say, go get Buster Faulkner back. Steal him back from Georgia Tech. Well, the fact that he's now at Florida, that's a win. That's a win. You just got somebody that Georgia fans really kind of craved. As a UCF alumni, as soon as they fired Gus Malzahn before Frost, I wanted them to hire Buster Faulkner and give him his first head coaching job. I was all in. I said that on this show last year, around this time, that I wanted Buster Faulkner to be the next head football coach of UCF. Didn't happen. Obviously, he stays at Georgia Tech. They gave him a little pay bump, and now he's at Florida. So I think this is a huge win for Buster Faulkner. I think obviously the question is does he want DJ Lagway? And I think it has to be posed that way because obviously when you bring in a defensive coach like Sumrall is, the first question is, does the talent want that coach? Well, the way that Lagway played, I don't think is deserving of that question because I think at this point he would be lucky if the coaching staff wanted him. Truthfully, that's the way I feel about it. Y'all know I don't like DJ Lagway. Y'all know I think he's about as overhyped as it gets. Always, kind of always was, and cost Napier his job in a lot of ways. Truthfully, so I don't think obviously Lagway's in a position to say who he did or did not want or anything like that. I think it's does Buster Faulkner want DJ Lagway, see a future with DJ Lagway, see progress in a short span with DJ Lagway or not. And because here's what I do believe. I do believe now that we know this hire, and here's the great news for Florida, is that Buster Faulkner will be able to retain the other talent. The Dallas Wilsons, the Vernell Browns, the Jaden Balls. I would be surprised if those guys left at this point. Now, I have no idea, but I think Buster Faulkner is well respected, and they're going to trust him, especially as he gets in the building these next couple of weeks before they can even potentially enter the transfer portal, that the money's better at Florida anyway, and now they've got a guy that they can trust to actually call the offense. So I think that's great news for Florida. DJ Lagway, I don't know. Could y'all go get Jake Resclaff, obviously, who's the Tulane quarterback? He comes over with Sumrall, former BYU guy. A lot of talent. Could you go get this Philo kid, Aaron Philo, the backup at Georgia Tech? He's more of the true passer. Haynes King, obviously, is the leader of that team, so he's always going to play. But Philo is looks like he's a legit thrower. I mean, we've barely seen anything from him, but still a guy you could go get. Let's do this. We'll get to more on Sumrall in a second. Because I do want to get to Brad White real quick. Portfolio manager at Bank of America as soon as he got done in his playing days, and obviously then he got back into coaching. He's been around for a long time, 5-6 years at UK, at Kentucky under Stoops. I think that's a home run as well. Maybe not a home run, maybe a triple. I think that's a big win because, I mean, Kentucky's defense is always stout, and now he's your guy. It's always a tough place to play. He's sent a lot of talent to the NFL as well. So a great job from Sumrall. I think it's a solid A for me, for sure. And I'll be very interested to see how many guys transfer out in the next couple of weeks, if any. I'm sure there will be some. I mean, it would be impossible for that to not happen. But yeah, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to get a little bit. We're going to touch on something from FSU, and then we'll get into. We'll look at the bracket together. We'll break it all down. The championship games, the stakes, some predictions, and now I'm going to spend some time on Miami because I didn't last Monday, and I know I got to now. Miami, are they screwed? Do they have a shot? Do they deserve to be in? What should their argument be? That is coming up on Stadium Pulse, Action Sports Jack's 24/7 network. We'll be right back.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's one of the hot spots in the area.
Welcome you to String Sports Brewery out at the beach. Big crowd on hand tonight. The fans are here.
And now, the newest hot spot at the beach is open. String Sports Brewery in Jax Beach has opened its doors with rave reviews.
We're going to be fans forever.
Cozy up to the bar. Grab a seat in the sports-themed restaurant, or grab a seat outside and feel that breeze coming off the beach as the weather warms. Just like the original location in Springfield, try the popular beer menu and come for lunch or dinner too, because the food is fantastic.
We got a special guest in the house. He's happy. He's feeling good. He's Trayvon Walker.
It's where we hosted Jags Report Live in the football season, and the String Sports Brewery staff can't wait to host you. Hey, welcome back here to String Sports Brewery. And if you haven't checked out the new location in Jax Beach, you got to do it. String Sports Brewery, now with 2 locations in Springfield and now open in Jax Beach on Penman Road.
Hi, I'm Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. Whether you're looking for a side-by-side, ATV, motorcycle, or scooter, Honda has what you need.
The Honda Talon. Ultimate performance meets family-friendly fun. Prices starting at $363 a month. Or the sporty Honda CBR 650 starting at an affordable $204 a month.
Stop by and choose your adventure from a full line of Honda products. Only at Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard. Family owned and operated since 1983.
Hello, I'm Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Since 2003, our firm has fought exclusively for the rights of men in family law. Divorce, modification of child support, alimony, custody, and more, all for men. A father is vitally important to a child's life, and being a man is not a reason to pay more in child support or alimony. I'm a single father. I get it. If you have a divorce or other family law issue, contact Kenny Lay & Associates at divorcemenonly.com.
CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing is taking their 75-plus years of expertise and expanding to CGC Home Services. Water treatment and plumbing is still a big part of what they do, and now they can do even more for you. Home services like kitchen and bathroom remodeling, showers, sinks, faucets, toilet repair, backflow testing, and the list keeps going. Find all they can do at cgchomeservices.com or give them a call, 904-298-7052. It's a new look and a new name with the same expertise. They've been serving homes like yours since 1946. CGC Home Services, right here in Jacksonville off St. John's Bluff Road, 904-298-7052. And visit cgchomeservices.com. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Stadium Pulse, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Welcome back. Talking some college football for an hour, 9 to 10 every Monday and Friday. I did want to make it just a touch on FSU real quick. For Florida State, the rumors or whoever's putting out that y'all were potentially in on Lane Kiffin, not buying it, man. And I don't think y'all are, but I just don't. In what world were y'all ever going to afford that? And in what world was, Lane ever going to say, yeah, you can pay me all the money. I know that's going to bankrupt your program, and so we won't have any money for NIL. But was there maybe one phone call made? Sure. But are we just going to exaggerate that to the point where, y'all's AD actually was in the running? I don't think so. One note I will put out there, Buster Faulkner, we just spent a lot of time talking about him as the OC of Florida. Let's just hypothetically say Norvell lasts 2 more years. Next season and the one after that, and then he's gone. Congratulations, Buster Faulkner. You are now the next head coach of FSU. If not Faulkner, then maybe a guy who was hired just a little bit southwest, Brian Hartline. Goes from being the, obviously, wide receiver guru and best recruiter in the country at Ohio State. Now he's calling plays for the first time. He gets hired at USF to be their next head football coach, post Alex Golish. 2 or 3 years, has success. which would be hard not to do down there. FSU, there's your new head football coach. Obviously, all dependent on Norvell sticking around, but which I don't foresee happening. But if it were to, those are your next two guys. All right, Penn State. Again, as I started the show with, Billy Napier fired, rehired before Penn State finds their next head football coach. Meanwhile, and we're going to get I'm going to break down exactly where they're at now, all this stuff. Meanwhile, James Franklin is absolutely balling at VTech. Just absolutely balling. And the ball is Penn State's AD and their entire football program that James Franklin is hooping with. He's bouncing it all on the ground. It's insane. He's just giving them a bag every day. The recruiting class is going to be top 25. He's flipping guys left and right. Penn State their guys that James Franklin recruited at Penn State. He's just saying, "Hey, come on over, bub. VTech, here it is," and they're going. And they're going because Penn State is that much of a disaster, and James Franklin's a great recruiter, always has been. Definitely at certain positions. So obviously, you guys know the story. They went after Matt Rule, no. Signetti, no. Drinkwitz, no. Clark Leah, Brom, all these guys to get extensions, and it's well chronicled. Penn State has gotten these coaches like $300 million in extensions, all the way down to Kalani Sitake, and I'll have a note on him in a second. So bad, it's so bad. I just want to explain, everybody understand how bad this is. James Madison, Bob Chesney, he interviewed with Penn State. Then he chose to go to UCLA. You guys know how bad things are at UCLA right now? Program sucks. In the dirt. They get 8 people to show up at their games. Parents of their football players debate going. It's so bad. And Chesney still decided to go there over Penn State. Are there other factors involved in that? Absolutely. But, dude, seriously? A James Madison head coach. And maybe Penn State hadn't given a formal offer yet. But you're going to tell me that you're going to interview with Penn State and it's an option, and before you're going to let them get back to you, you're going to choose to go to UCLA? That's bad, man. That's really bad. And obviously Terry Smith is the interim, and most fans want their AD Kraft to offer the job to Terry Smith. And at least that was the thought, right? That was the idea maybe these last couple of weeks, up until the last couple of days. Well, now I think Terry Smith, and maybe not him necessarily, but his agent, is looking around and saying, well, nobody's going to take this job. My guy's at the front. I'm not going to let Penn State lowball him. And, because maybe hypothetically you could say, well, this cycle just sucked. You could come out as the AD and say, this cycle sucked. There was no great head coaching options. So what we're going to do is we're just going to extend Terry Smith as the interim for another year. He's going to be the interim in 2026, and then we're going to hire a new head football coach next offseason, and that'll be our $7 million or 7-year deal or whatever the case may be. Well, now Terry Smith and his agent are looking around and saying, well, nobody else wants this job. I'm not, right now we're the only option, which means we have leverage. So now Terry Smith is, whereas never before was he even in other candidate pools, now apparently he's going and interviewing here and creating leverage for himself. So it might be Terry Smith is either getting a 5-year deal or none at all, and he's going somewhere else as a head coach. And so it's a masterful job by his agent to gain leverage on Penn State, and it's a terrible job by Kraft yet again. In a perfect world, obviously, you would do everything but hire a guy for put a 1-year interim status on a guy and pretty much go without a head coach into another football season. But even that might have been a better job than what they're going to come out to. And as of right now, that's probably hiring Matt Campbell from Iowa State. He is the guy that they've apparently been in contact with over the last 24 hours. To make all things worse. Pat Kraft, there's some leaked audio from the Penn State AD. It's 36 minutes long. Again, I told you, if you're halfway out the door on Friday, which don't be, but if you are, no problem, either look up Lane Kiffin Files on Twitter, or here's your second option, 35 minutes, Penn State AD Kraft leaked audio in a players meeting. This was like 2 weeks ago. And obviously it's a black screen because somebody's got the phone in the pocket. It's that whole deal. And it's 35 minutes of their AD pretty much throwing a tantrum. But also the crux of the meeting is the state of the program, convincing players to stay, kind of getting an update on Terry Smith, all that stuff. I don't think it's exactly time-stamped when this was, but I think we could comfortably say between 1 and 2 weeks ago. Not in the last week, but not more than 2 weeks ago, I would say. This guy is making himself out to be such a clown. Such a clown. First of all, he's complaining about Penn State can't get recruits because Penn State's in the middle of nowhere. So, like, you guys, he spends 5 minutes. Hey, you thought you hated your rival? You don't. That's nothing compared to Pat Kraft, his hatred for Oregon. In this 35 minutes, you get stray after stray after stray. This guy hates Oregon. Says everybody that lives there is weirdos, all this stuff. This is the AD talking to players. First of all, like a head coach, because he's dropping 80 F-bombs in this thing, so beware of that if you're interested in going to look at it. He's talking to them as if he was their head coach. Because here's what he says. He's like, he brings up the loss to Indiana, obviously the Omar Cooper late touchdown. And he's like, that's what's effing wrong with this program and all this stuff. Y'all think that, that was good on Terry Smith, the interim, for being in that game, and reason why maybe we should take a look at it, giving him the job. No, you lost. F that, all this. You lost. That's why this program is where it is. This is what he's saying. Because we're always cool with being second best. Oh, man, imagine if you're a Penn State fan hearing your own AD say that. It's insane. Saying that, he's taking shots at James Franklin. He's, again, hating on Oregon. Saying Michigan sucks. Claiming that they're close to getting over the hump against Ohio State. It's a disaster. Total disaster. It's a clown show. And what's wrong with college football is that this guy is going to keep his job. Most likely. And that's also in there. He's like kind of ranting about how much this means and how he could, his job's on the line with who he hires. Yeah, you're right. That's what you signed up for. You can't just strike out on $million decisions, tens of millions of dollars, and think that you're going to go scot-free. So that's that. That's the situation at Penn State. It's insane. If you've missed it, if you're just now hopping in, seeing a lot of people just hopping in, we spent the first half of the show talking about Sumrall, his hires, Buster Faulkner, huge fan, as a lot of Georgia fans are. And Brad White, the former portfolio manager at Bank of America, now your defensive coordinator. So we gave thoughts on him. Billy Napier, JMU's next head football coach. We talked about FSU and Lane Kiffin as well. Now let's get to some championship game stakes, and we'll bring up our bracket for this. If you've been out of the loop on the bracket, not exactly sure what's going on, here we go. So obviously, you'll see the 12 is the conference champ number 5. That would obviously go to, you would think, the AAC champion. That's Tulane versus North Texas. That game is tonight. That's Sumrall. That's the battle of teams whose head coaches are leaving. That's Sumrall for Tulane, and that's Eric Morris for North Texas, who is going to be the next head football coach at Oklahoma State. He's the quarterback guru, guys, or so-called. Not self-proclaimed, by the way. So there's that. So that game's tonight. That's for a playoff spot. Like, winner is in. And they would, as of right now, play Oregon. Then you've got Alabama and Oklahoma in there. We'll get to Alabama in a second. Then 11 is your conference champion 4. And where this gets messy is with the ACC. So, obviously Miami right now is the highest ranked team in this conference. They are 13. Excuse me, they're 12. But obviously that team is not in because it's the top 10 teams plus conference champions. And Miami is not in the conference championship game. They are third in the ACC in conference record. So who is in? It's Virginia at 17. They're the 17th ranked team. And unranked Duke, who is 7-5. What a disaster. A 7-5 football team is in the ACC championship. First and foremost, Miami, that's on you for letting that happen. So before I get any further, before we get to the Miami Notre Dame, which is the entire conversation this week of who should be where, that's on you, Miami. Don't lose to Louisville. So you're not going to get any feeling sorry for on this show. Not going to happen. However, I will follow that up with, should Miami be ranked ahead of Notre Dame? Yes, they should. Yes, they should. Do I believe? So because two things can be true at the same time. Obviously, everybody knows Notre Dame played Miami week 2, I believe it was week 2 of the season. Or 3. Very early, first month. Miami won. Head-to-head. There's your metric. We're trying to figure out who should be in the playoff. Should it be Notre Dame? Should it be Miami? Who won the game? Miami. Boom, they're in. It should be that simple. I agree with Miami. You've got a gripe. You've got a gripe. But the committee is obviously saying, well, if the two teams played right now, we'd pick Notre Dame by a touchdown. We think they're that much better. We've looked at the 10 weeks since that game, the 3 months since that game. Notre Dame has whooped everybody, and Miami has struggled. I agree. Two things could be true. If that game was right now on neutral site, I'd say set the line at Notre Dame -7. Make it a touchdown straight favorite. I'd pick Notre Dame every time. I think they're a better football team. I think they have a better chance of winning a national title. However, we can't just say the head-to-head doesn't matter. The head-to-head has to matter unless you're going to tell me that the first month of the season, those games are preseason. They don't matter. Because then, hey, Texas has a gripe too. Not a great one. Not a great one. But they would have a gripe as well. But the first month of the season matters. Of course it does. And so for that fact, if we're gonna play the games, then the games got to count. If the games count, Miami beat Notre Dame, they should be ranked ahead. To me, it's that simple. But anyway, back to the ACC championship. Because of that, because Miami's not in, then we could have potential fireworks. The simplest way this goes down is Virginia wins the football game. They're in. They are in. They are ranked 17th. They would be the fourth highest rated conference champion. They would be slotted in that 11 seed. Duke would go home, obviously, as a 7-6 football team, and Miami would go home as well. It's that simple. If Virginia wins, Miami's done. But if Duke wins, if the 7-5 team wins, that's where it gets really interesting because Duke would not be in the playoff because obviously it's just whoever. So Tulane, stay with me here. Tulane say they won. They would go to the 11th seed. They would be the fourth highest rated conference champion. And then James Madison, they're playing for a conference championship tonight. Well, they're ranked. they're the 24th ranked team. They're playing Troy. If they win, they would be hypothetically the 23rd team. Duke would not be ranked even if they beat Virginia tonight. So JMU would go to the 12, and we would have 2 non-Power 4 teams in the playoff. Hopefully that makes sense. That would mean Virginia goes home because they lost the game. Duke stays home, and if we're in, so they stay home because they're 8-5 football team at that point, and they would not be in the top 25, so they cannot be in. And then Miami would obviously go home as well. And we would have no ACC representation. Unless the committee says, hold on a minute. We can't have no ACC representation. We can't have zero power. This is a Power 4 conference, y'all. The ACC sucks. Me and you both know this. But at the end of the day, the entire reason why this playoff was created was for these conferences to at least all have a representative. At least one. It would be real bad. And there's not a whole lot of advantages monetarily or in their partnerships or anything for the committee to leave the ACC completely out of the playoffs. So what can they do? They could just say it. They could just say that if Bama loses, that would mean Bama's out. It would either be Bama or Miami at that point. They could say, well, we don't have any ACC representation. We need one. We're going to put Miami as a at-large bid if Bama loses and just do it that way. Or Notre Dame. Hey, we know that we've said Notre Dame is better than Miami. But there's one problem. Well, now we don't have an ACC team. We're just going to flip them. The committee has the right to do that, to say, hey, these other brackets that we put out the last few weeks, well, I mean, look, didn't work out. We now think that we're going to switch our course and put Miami in. Possible. But it all has to start. That would all have to start with Duke winning the ACC championship tomorrow night. And to be honest, I think the game is better. The playoff is better. Precedent is better if we leave Miami at home. I wish we could leave Notre Dame at home as well. I mean, y'all know me. I mean, I wish we had a 14 playoff still. Or give me 8. Because, dude, if we had 8, man, these games would be awesome. Ohio State, Oklahoma. Georgia as the 2 against A&M. Georgia A&M? Give me that. Give me 3 Indiana versus 6 Ole Miss. Give me that. Give me 4 Texas Tech versus Oregon. Don't give me this JMU crap. Stay home. Tulane with a head coach who's he's halfway out the door. Not blaming him, by the way. I would be too. Respect the job that he's doing to want to stay. Respect Florida for allowing him to stay. I don't want to watch that crap. I don't think you do either. Miami, if you get left out, there's no one to blame but yourself. Stop losing to Louisville. It's that simple. Because guess who does have a little bit of a gripe? Is Vandy. And I'm sure that this is just going to be Vandy, SEC homer just wants more SEC teams in the dance. I mean, I don't know how else to go against that other than to say that this Vandy team lost at Alabama, who's in the playoff, and at Texas, who's 13. They have 2 L's on the season. Now, if you put Alabama's logo on Vanderbilt's and looked at them and said, well, your 2 losses are only at Bama, which I should have picked a different example for the logo, but at Bama and at Texas, they'd be in. They'd be in. It's unfortunate they don't have great wins is their issue. As far as tangible things that could have gone differently, their great wins are at home against Missouri. It's okay. And at Tennessee last week. That's it. So I mean, they've got a gripe. Texas has a gripe too. Texas is a borderline political committee right now with the lobbying to try to get into the playoff. And Sark is, I mean, he might as well run for office. All the lobbying he's doing. Anybody who listens, he's going to talk to him. Do I believe that Texas is a top 12 team in college football? I think they're 11. And I think they have a better chance to win a national championship than some of these teams. But you lost to Florida. You lost to a sorry Florida team. So I'm not sorry for you. You controlled your own destiny and you spoiled it. So don't blame me when I'm not trying to hear your claim. Beat Florida, bro. It's not that hard. It's really not. And they be in. And they be in. So look, if we look at the conference championship games, if BYU, let's go back there. We got BYU, Texas Tech tomorrow. Obviously, if Texas Tech wins, they're in. If they lose, they're still in. And that would throw another wrench in everything. If BYU wins this game, then either Bama or Notre Dame are out. Because BYU would have to be in as a conference champ. And then it would be between Texas Tech, Bama, and Notre Dame. Obviously, Texas Tech, that would be their only loss, and it's in a conference championship game, which technically we're really not supposed to be penalized for. So they'd be the first of those three teams. Then it'd be up between Bama and Notre Dame. And again, if I'm not supposed to penalize you for losing a conference championship game, that leaves me to whoever's higher ranked right now. Bama is 9, Notre Dame is 10. So if BYU wins tomorrow, Notre Dame is out. They're out. Just like that. And so, obviously, every single year we do this whole conversation of should Notre Dame be allowed to still be an independent team? So everybody's got a differing opinion. I'll say this. If you don't want to be even stuck in remotely close to this situation where you could be booted from the playoff as a 10 seed just because you don't have a conference championship to play in, maybe join a conference. Or else, be fine with this conversation. Don't be upset if BYU wins and you're one ranking outside of the playoff. Don't be upset. Because you could have played in a conference championship game and automatically got a bid. You could have done it. You chose not to. Choices. Texas decided they wanted to play Ohio State knowing the current format that we're in, where out of conference really doesn't matter and it can only really hurt you. Choices. Everybody's making them. And now they don't want to accept responsibility for them. We could go on and on. Let me give you some thoughts on the games themselves really quick before we get out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If we can bring the chat back up, we'll see if anybody had any, hopefully no questions on the playoff format. Jay Reezy 93 says, well, hold up. Florida isn't a bad team. Our D kept us in almost every game and until the fourth quarter because the O couldn't convert a third down. Yes, the D kept you in every game until the fourth quarter because the O couldn't convert a third down. But that doesn't make you not a bad team. You guys won 4 games. 4 games. I cannot discount the Florida State win because that was huge. You're still a bad football team, Jay Reese. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, you were in every game and you're a lot better than a 4-8 record potentially, but you're a bad football team. You won 4 games. You are what you are. And the fact that Texas lost to you, that's a really bad L. It just is because everybody else in the playoff would have handled it. BYU and Texas Tech played a month ago. Texas Tech won 29-7. Texas Tech's only loss this year is to ASU, Arizona State, with a backup quarterback. That is, Texas Tech had the backup quarterback. They were forced to play him, and they lost that game. But BYU, they're coming back. You know, it's tough to beat a team by 20 twice. Could we get a close game? By the way, this was my other Kalani Sitake. Just in the last 3 or 4 days, decided I'm not going to Penn State. I'm staying here. Is that a little juice? A little juice in that program? Added juice? Who knows? Ohio State, Indiana at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Win, and you get the 1 seed. Home field advantage throughout the playoff. Also win, and your quarterback wins the Heisman. That is this game. This is Mendoza versus Julian Sayin. Whoever wins, their quarterback throws for 2 or 3 touchdowns. Congratulations, you're going to win the Heisman Trophy. Because Pavia can't win it because he doesn't have any other chances to prove it. Although Vandy obviously is trying to get another game on the schedule. Hat tip to them for trying. They reached out to Miami, apparently, and maybe like a team like Utah. Apparently the game would have to be played in like Hawaii or something like that. I don't know the logistics behind that, but that's the case. Miami didn't want any part of it, and I don't blame them. They cannot gain anything, really, by beating Vandy. They could only lose. And it's up to just the ACC Championship, as we outlined anyway. But that's that. That is that. So Pavia can't win the Heisman. Jeremiah Love can't win the Heisman. And then it's like Gunnar Stockton after that, who y'all know what I would say. But I'm not going to see through red and black colored glasses enough to believe that he has any kind of a shot against Mendoza. And Sayin, nor should he. Those guys have had better years. Matt King Cooper says, get rid of the championship games. There's no reason to play them. We should be seeing number 1 and number 2 playing each other. Then those teams have to go into play. Yeah, I mean, this was me last week. I didn't even know if I wanted Georgia to be in the playoff. And we're running out of time. I have a 10-minute dissertation readily available of why the SEC championship. I wish it meant something. It's but it doesn't. And that's not my fault. I'm not spoiled for saying that. Your system's broken. And until that is the case, then I should not root for my team to play in the SEC championship. I would wish that Georgia had a bye week, that they were the 5 seed, that they're getting to host Tulane. They can rout them by 30 and then onward. We've had a couple weeks off. We got to play Tulane. Now we're tuned up, ready to go to host, or to go at the 4 seed Texas Tech, hypothetically, if Georgia was the 5 seed. Sign me up for that a million times over this. Obviously, if Georgia wins, they're the 2 seed. They get to host every game, but the playoff or the championship and against Ohio State, if that would be the case, the 1 seed, is that better? Yeah, but that's a big risk. Obviously, that's why you play the game. Don't play scared. Obviously, that's going to be his message. So look, it's that simple. Georgia win the game, get to the 2 seed, and let's get this thing going. I will be happy come Monday when the bracket is settled. No more bracket talk. We can talk in hindsight, but it's settled. We're going to get this thing rolling. We'll get to this 12-team playoff, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. No matter who's in and who's out, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Hey, still give me the 4 teams. If y'all want to bring that back anytime, I'm here for it. 8 teams, even better. Even better. 8's perfect. 12, I'll take it. It's going to be a lot of fun. When the bracket is settled, we'll be here on Monday morning to break it all down for you. This is the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. We're with you, Stadium Pulse, Monday, 9 to 10 a.m., Friday, 9 to 10 a.m. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us in the chat. We'll see you on the Brenton Austin Show talking Jags Colts in about 5 minutes. Have a good Friday, everybody.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. And most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at